Hey guys, welcome to General Query. This is Fonz. I go by he, him, and his.
Hey guys, and this is Zuki, and I go by she, her, and hers. Welcome to another episode of General Query, where everybody's sane and no one is losing it.
Sure.
As not as evidenced by Fonzie's amazing sweater
Yeah, I
right
know.
now.
Oh, it's a onesie.
Oh, it's a onesie.
It
Okay,
is a
even better.
onesie.
Even
Yeah.
better. Yeah,
Here, let's pull this little thing out.
sexy, sexy.
There. So here's the thing. You know how like the majority of the US is now defrosting and like we're heading into spring and
That's
whatever?
right.
Well,
That's
no,
right.
our lakes are still frozen, so
No, really?
hence the cold.
Oh my God. No, so here in Virginia, we had like 8 inches of snow, and
Doesn't love a good 8 inches.
we, well, some of us uh enjoy a good 8 inches. Others are just a little bit more like ouchy about it. But anyway, um, but no, so 8 inches of snow, which is absolutely nuts, right?
That
Like
is
that's
crazy, yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah.
Like I loved it again because I loved the snow, but mm-mm.
Yeah.
Like it took too long after a while. Like I'm ready for spring.
I'm enjoying it. I want more
Like
snow.
cold, like my soul.
100%.
I love that too.
Yeah.
And I agree.
I
I'm
love
with you.
no, I want more cold. I want people freezing. I want more. Give
You know
me
what, dear?
8 inches. Just kidding.
Um, you I hate to keep bringing up Nosferatu every other episode, but hear me out. What I love about the
Hashtags traumatized.
hashtag traumatized, hashtag she won't let it go, hashtag narcissistic injury. Anyways,
Hashtag millennial because Gen Zers don't use hashtags anymore.
yeah, hashtag millennial. And anyway, no, but there's this thing that the Gen Zers have been like making funny videos about where in Nosferatu, like Count Orlok, the main bad guy, right? He has a very specific voice, and he like he breathes really interesting. And anyway, it's so a lot of the amazing Gen Zers on TikTok have been like making up things that he would say in that voice. And one of them has been, "You must bounce on it." Hold on. And then they go, "You must bounce on it. Crazy style." Like it's the dumbest, most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's
I love
hilarious.
it. I think I spent 30 minutes the other day on TikTok just like browsing those videos, and then I woke up and I was like, what have I done with my life?
Right.
So I get it. I get it. So that would be you, Fonzie. You'd be like, I must bounce on it, crazy style.
Yeah.
A la Nosferatu. If you got any 8 inch anything. Um, but I will
Yeah.
stick to snow. Um,
Yeah, I love
I
snow.
love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and because our souls are cold, and because we, have all these things going on, we have been trying to give you guys lighthearted episodes. However,
It is time.
it is time.
Hold on, hold on,
Um,
hold on.
it is time to make it a little bit more serious.
Right.
And I think it's important, especially during this time, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about accountability in queer spaces with like talking about like cancel culture and like holding our folks accountable like in
Yeah.
our own spaces,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
And the reason why we wanted to talk about this was a little bit of the, maybe to some of you it's like old tea.
Emilia
So
Perez, yeah.
Emilia Perez, the movie, obviously it got very mixed, right? Like reviews.
Reviews, yeah. Here's the
People
thing.
were.
So
Yeah.
did you ever watch it?
Yes.
What do you feel about it?
I mean, it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be,
Okay, I'm glad we agree because
right? Like,
it, yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
yeah,
We have to understand it is a French actor, and we have to understand it was a story seen from the perspective of that producer, you
right,
know?
right,
And yeah, I mean, they appropriated Mexican culture, but because this producer and writer wanted to tell a specific story, and that story was the story of Emilia Perez, they were not portraying Mexican culture. They were not, the intent was not to portray Mexican culture. The intent was not to portray, uh, cartel life. Like, that was not the purpose of the movie.
right,
If
right.
that's what you're criticizing, sorry to say it, but you're wrong. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
the producer and writer wanted to tell the story of Emilia Perez. Who's Emilia Perez? This cartel guy who transitioned because that's their life goal, who wanted to transition into a life as a woman, moved, yada yada yada. Okay, so from that point of view, the movie was not bad at all.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. And to your point, right? Like, we can launch a bunch of criticism about like the accents and the this and the dialogue and stuff. But I don't think, like you said, that it's fair to just criticize it from, you know,
a
a
cultural
Mexican
point of view.
culture point of
Yeah,
view,
yeah,
right? So it's one of those things, right? Where like even sometimes when we feel, and we're Mexican, so we can
correct.
definitely speak to this. Like I think a lot of us feel that, like, for example, take something, a very iconic Hollywood movie in which Mexican culture was highlighted through a famous person, Selena, right?
Okay, but that's like Tex-Mex culture.
For sure, but a lot of people had issues with J-Lo
Puerto
representing
Rican, yeah.
a Mexican American icon, right? And that's fair criticism, sure,
Yeah.
right? But you talk to a majority of Mexican folks, and they're going to tell you that it's one of their favorite movies of all time,
Yeah.
right?
Here's the thing, to that point,
Yeah,
because if we want to get to that level, like think about, okay, because it's completely different. For example, with Emilia Perez. Soy Saldaña lived, and she blatantly said it in the movie. I come from the Dominican Republic. I've lived in Mexico my entire life. Like that was her character, and she said it. I've lived in Mexico my entire life. Her character was never to be Mexican. Her character was a Dominican who moved to Mexico, grew up in
right,
Mexico. Okay.
right,
With Selena, Selena was a born Mexican American, Mexican heritage. She was born in Texas. So in that situation, I get why people might be upset because yeah, when we think of J-Lo, does not fit the profile whatsoever. It was never
no,
explained that
right,
she was Puerto Rican, but also J-Lo never spoke in her Puerto Rican accent during the movie. So she was playing a part. It's like Australians and British playing Americans.
yes,
Because we've seen it a bunch of times, like
yep,
Barbie.
yes,
I
Margot
mean,
Robbie, yeah,
Margot Robbie is Australian. She played an American Barbie doll. Like, hello,
right.
people.
No, absolutely, Fonz. And like that's for me, like that's where I'm like, okay, like again, we can be objectively critical of art, right? For various
Yeah, for
reasons,
sure.
right? But to your point, it does matter what the goal of the project was,
100%.
right?
I think only
Yeah.
artists will understand this point of criticism when it comes to, well, I mean, you never claimed to be an artist, but I think
No, but
you
I love
appreciate
art
art.
and I
Yeah,
understand it. Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think,
yeah.
and to that point, like, I think Emilia Perez has had a lot of bad rap. But when it comes down to accountability, Claudia Gascon,
And that's where we wanted to get to,
yeah,
right? It's like, how do we go about
I think
holding our community accountable?
this is the thing. I think because she is trans, and
Yeah.
because the movie was not well received in Mexico, is that she got such a bad rep. And because of that, and yes, maybe I'm being a hypocrite and maybe I'm excusing her, but I think because of the backlash that they got from the movie, because the Spanish person was playing a Mexican, because the Dominican was playing a Mexican, because the Mexican American was playing a Mexican American. I think because of that is that Claudia Sofia Gascon was kind of like putting up this defense wall that what she said and what she did was wrong. Like, there's no other way to put it. Wrong. Completely wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the
But
thing. Like,
also, it's kind of shitty because even before, like from what I've read, even before Emilia Perez, she was kind of a fucked up person.
that's exactly what my point was going to be. Yeah, exactly. Like, to your point, I believe it was absolute. This is magnified because of the Emilia Perez, like, back shot of it, right? But all of these, like, things that popped up that she tweeted and said, right? Like,
Or pre-movie.
were pre-movie.
So you're
They were
literally a
gross.
shitty person before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like like this the shit she was saying was legitimately gross. Like that's like you can't
Disgusting.
excuse that,
But
right?
also, here's the thing, and I hate to say it, but that's reality in Spain. Unfortunately, xenophobia
Thank
is
you.
massive in Spain.
Massive in Spain.
Yeah.
Massive, massive,
And
right?
let's not go that far. It's massive in the US.
Right. It's weird that there's something about
Mis-
colonizers
yeah.
that they should, right, like, but it
Right.
is this thing where, okay, so then if we're seeing this go down, right, and we're seeing a member of our community behave, or these things are coming up that they're behaving poorly, like, what does that mean? Like, is it good to call them out publicly?
100%. I think
Okay.
holding people accountable as a community is needed for these people to realize that they fucked up. And
Yeah.
that comes to any single person. Like, I know, for example, if I do something wrong, like, I will have my family and you to be like, and I include my boyfriend in my family portion, obviously.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
I know I'll have people around me to be like, no, you fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
So these celebrities need that. They need
I
their
agree.
community to be like, you're fucking stupid. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What
No.
bothered me the most
Yeah.
about interviews that I saw about Claudia Sofia Gascon was like the fact that she would negate the fact that she was trans to some point. Like, for her all of her interviews were like, well, I'm a woman. Well, I'm a woman. Well, does it matter? Like, do you have to put trans in front of it? Which I get her point. But at the same time, like, in the political environment that we're living in worldwide, yes, it is very important that you add trans in front of it, whether
Absolutely.
you like it or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's my thing with that specifically, right? As a cis woman, I it's a responsibility, especially in times like this, because of my privilege, because I have several aspects of privilege, right? It's very important that because of the areas of privilege that I have as a cisgendered woman, that I make it clear what my other labels are. Why? Because it makes other women visible. It's important that you weaponize that privilege, right? So, yeah, I'm a cisgender woman, but I'm an immigrant woman. I'm a Mexican woman. I'm bilingual. I'm this, I'm that. And the reason why you do label yourself, or you should, is so that the people that look at us as one across the board begin to understand that that's not the case, right? And so whenever I understand what she's saying, I'm a woman. Yes, but you're a trans woman that has a leg up right now. Do you understand that? You have a platform.
Yeah.
And you get to act and you get to do what you want to do in your life. So you need to call yourself out for your sisters that can't
Yep.
do that.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry.
100%.
I get her point, but you
Yeah.
have to call it out, sis.
Yep.
You have to.
Same. That was my same point. I
Yeah.
think because of the privilege of that platform and because you have the
Yes.
privilege to play a role,
Yes.
then yes, you have a responsibility to your
You do.
And the fact that she's getting canceled everywhere and that she's no longer welcome at the Oscars, I think is the way to do it. It's a way to say you fucked up.
Okay, so see that was going to be my next point, because another thing is, I have seen it called out before where people make the argument that when queer folks call out queer folks,
We're
that
against
makes
them.
it okay for non-allies to do so. And I think that's a bit of a logical fallacy, Fonz.
Yes.
And I really need you to weigh in on this because obviously, how do you feel about that?
No, I totally agree.
Okay.
And once again, it's like I mentioned when we first started, like I have a circle close to me that will call it out and I'll
Right.
listen to.
Right.
But it's a circle. Just like people within the community, like if you don't belong within that community, if you don't belong within that circle, then your opinion is more than likely going to be biased. So, no, it's not welcomed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think it's important. I'm going to make this very clear. And this is has has a political lean, I guess. But I always equate it to this. You can call out members of your community as long as you're not actively participating in the harm of that community, right? So for example, I will go to ridiculous lengths to say call out the Latinos for Trump movement because I can, because it's stupid,
Yeah.
because you're harming your community. You're harming us. And I have a unique position to highlight for you how you're being harmful to our community. Now, sorry to say it, I don't want to hear from YT folks about the Latinos for Trump community. You can have your opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
But it has no weight for me.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And also, you are the system. Whether or not you voted for him or not. Out. I don't want to hear from you. Right? So, it's that. It's like
very similar when it comes to the queer community. Yeah.
Exactly, babe.
Yeah.
Right?
Like people outside the queer, even if you're an ally, and you're an ally, obviously, but there's only so much
on, dude.
Exactly.
Right.
There's only
I
so much
can't.
allies can relate to, and then
I agree.
there's a point where allies kind of like can only understand so much.
Exactly. And there's only so much allies can say and think before our experience starts to completely push out queer experience.
Yeah. And
right?
I think for me, even within the queer community, like there's a fine line between what support looks like and what I guess discipline or just trying to correct a situation looks like, because a lot of people might argue like, no, you have to support your community regardless or whatever. Like, no, our community is fucked up sometimes. Like, and I'm sorry to say, but there's a lot of white folks that have a lot more privilege than any other gay person of color will ever.
Agreed.
So no, these white folks will up. These white folks who are even part of our community will up. And it's our duty as a queer community to call it out, to call them out.
I love that. And
Yeah.
here's why. Because, to your point, that's the next thing that I wanted to make sure we covered is what does that look like, right, in activism when we're talking about accountability? And to your point, the truth of the matter is that to this day, we're still dealing with exclusion within the LGBTQ plus community, right? There's biphobia, there's transphobia, there's racism and ableism within our community, period. And if we're not willing to face that, then we're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
That's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, again.
Yeah, and it comes to any community whether it be the gay or queer community in general, or like, us as a whole, as a country as a whole, we need to call it out.
We do.
We need to make noise of it. Like, we can't just be a bystander. If you see something wrong, if you see something that's unsettling, if you see something that's harming other people, you need to call it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think like that's what I think is so key when it comes to maintaining accountability in our spaces is that, yes, I understand what people can say, like, well, we don't want to give them another excuse to hate us, right? And that's fair. However, that doesn't mean we lower our standards for ourselves, because that's the thing that's important here. Our communities, we know how great they are. We know the greatness that exists in these communities, the love, the community sense, come on, the creativity, everything that comes out of queer communities is so valuable. Yeah, the joy, queer joy, all of these things that come out. Do you want to cheapen them by letting a few run amok and do stupid shit?
Yeah.
No.
And I think just to wrap this up, I think it comes down to artists too. I mean, I know sometimes it sucks, but I mean, J-Lo abandoned her hairstylist in Dubai. And I think as a community, we need to talk about it. We need to let her know it's not okay. And it's people like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, J-Lo, Cher, Madonna, like these pop icons that, the majority of the following is queer. And I think they have the voice, they have the platform. We need to make sure they represent what we stand for.
Yeah, no, Fonzie, I couldn't.
Even Lana Del Rey, what the is up with Lana Del Rey being MAGA? Can we just cancel her already?
Dude, I mean, no. You don't get to profit off queer dollars and then turn your back on these folks.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that. And also, like, seriously, rest in peace to Jesus. It's horrendous. What happened to that young man?
And once again, I know I've mentioned it in previous podcasts before, but Kylie, my respects. Like, she is,
I agree,
probably the best offspring that has come out of that family. Not only is she a billionaire, the first billionaire, the youngest billionaire in that family, but she is the most kind-hearted, grounded person in that family.
I agree. And to anybody, and I told Fonzie this, like, people were in the comments being like, well, they had other commitments. Someone is in the hospital dying.
Care. Yeah, I don't care. You flew them there, you fly them back safe.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's like we talked about, resources. You're telling me J-Lo or anybody in her team couldn't, like you mentioned,
hire a nurse.
24-hour nurse.
Yeah.
Get their family there.
Yeah. You have the funds.
You have the funds for a family.
You deliberately decided not to, and that death falls on you, J-Lo. I'm sorry.
And when we're talking about accountability in the queer community, I hope all those queers that are around her leave. Because you're next.
Yeah.
Because she just showed you.
Her pocket is more important than anyone.
Yeah, she just showed you how expendable you are.
Yep.
So get out.
Yep.
All these queens that do her hair, her makeup, choreograph her dances, sew her clothes.
Be part of her show. Yeah.
Out. Out. So while we're sort of debating this thing like, oh, accountability within our own space, let's also hold those that benefit from you accountable. Because it's not hard to not be a complete piece of shit. It really isn't, especially when you have deep pockets.
Yep.
It's exceedingly easy to be a really good human
Yeah.
when you have a bunch of money.
What is $100,000 for you?
Oh my God, dude. At the
Probably
scale,
it was probably less. I mean, Kylie donated $1 million. I'm sure that's enough to cover a funeral, cover the travel expenses, and enough for her family to have a decent life for the next couple years.
give their family
Not that
a break.
difficult. Yeah.
Give their family a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I think, like, in short, I think keeping folks within our community accountable is so important. Of
Yeah.
course.
Check them.
Check them. And
Important. Check your celebrities. These people have a voice. Check them. They speak for us.
they do. They do.
It's like our representatives. They should speak for us. These celebrities should speak for us. Like, we pay for their tickets. We pay for their mentions.
We pay for everything. So make sure that we're keeping them accountable. And if we're going to talk about the future of our communities and being the best we can be, is let's make sure that, one, we're all checking our privilege together, all of us. And I'm in this particular moment right now, I'm calling out allies specifically. As allies, we need to know where our place is, okay? And 99% of the time, our place is to go to those folks and ask them how they feel about something, how something is affecting them. And then you weaponize your allyship. Then you speak in spaces where it's not safe for them to speak, right? That's what you do. And outside of that, you gotta let queer people handle their shit. And that goes to famous people too, right? So yeah, I mean, I think I'll speak for the women in the space too. It's like, it's not enough to just be like, well, I have some friends. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Right? Like, it's absolutely nuts. So no, I mean, with this Emilia Perez thing, the movie wasn't that bad, guys. It wasn't.
I know it, and I'm speaking to my fellow Mexicans. I know it's a sensitive subject. I know
It
we take
is,
pride in
dude.
being. I know we take pride in being Mexican.
We do.
I know we take pride in our culture, but read the cues, read the context. This movie was written from a foreigner's perspective to portray a cartel trans woman. Nothing else.
That's it.
Their
That's it.
wife was a Mexican American, Selena Gomez. She was meant to have an accent. She was meant to portray a Mexican American who was born in the US, who then moved to Mexico and had to learn how to relearn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. It wasn't that bad. It was a good movie. No, I do not agree with Sofia.
No.
What's her name? Carla Sofia Gascon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But please let us know what you think, because I know this is definitely a touchy subject. So I know that hopefully we get some good dialogue, because that's also important, right? Like, let's keep the conversation going, right? Let's talk to each other about these things. And you all know that General Queery is the space for you to talk about these things. So let us know what you think. What does accountability in the queer community look like to you?
Oh,
right?
what does
Like,
it mean to you?
what does it mean to you, period?
Does it
Right?
mean like stop going to their concerts? Does it mean
Yeah. What?
full on canceling them?
Right.
Yeah.
Please let us know, guys, how you feel. And until next time, this has been General
General
Query.
Query. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.